streaming again, and we are going to be playing a map that I made a trailer on. It's called Team Fortress 2. I basically made, so let me just explain the whole story. So there was this time around like 2021 or 2020, early 2022, and I was just scrolling through YouTube and I found this compilation of TF2 memes. I've never heard of TF2. The only thing I know is what the heck it looks like, and that's it. I didn't even know his name. So then I clicked on the video, and instantly I got hooked on the memes. And then after I got hooked on the memes, I got interested in the lore and the actual game itself. So then I watched video after video, and then months later I knew everything about the lore, its characters, and everything about the game in and of itself. And and I was a huge TF2 fan. But then 5 months after that, I just had a burnout. Like, I wasn't interested anymore as I used to. And now that burnout is over, and now I'm getting back into TF2. But the thing is that I can't actually play with a proper setup. I don't have like a gaming PC, so I can't really run properly of the real TF2. So I just go to Roblox and play the ripoff of it, typical Photos 2, which is really similar. There's nothing too different, and yeah, that's just how I got my knowledge. And now I'm just doing a live stream now, and I'm just waiting. I guess I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I guess I just want to wait a bit, talk about TF2 for a bit, and why I like it so much. But I guess we're just gonna sit here for talk about it. So the trailer I made was supposed to be an exact replica of the first TF2 trailer for the game, like the teaser trailer. If you search up TF2 trailer, you'll find a video of the trailer, and if you compare both videos, they're almost exactly identical, except I changed some things about how each class is portrayed to be just a tad bit more interesting. Like, for Engineer in the trailer, they didn't show much of what he does. He just sat on a roof and that was it. But with my trailer, I actually had the Engineer build a sentry. So that's kind of like this difference and similarities between the trailers as an example, and also what I actually do with the trailers. Now, I was planning on just making 9 separate videos portraying each class in my version of TF2, which I will do. There will be 9 separate videos dedicated for each class in their own qualities and perspectives, but this is just a preview, or I guess gameplay video on how most of the classes actually operate, instead of it going into depth with each character separately. So it's basically just gonna be like that. Now I'm gonna start up creative, but before that, I'm gonna go do some things real quick. So I'm gonna mute my mic and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So, we're gonna get into this, but first, maybe just a disclaimer. If you watch the trailer video I made, keep in mind that that video wasn't copyright striked. So I'm gonna teach you something if you're watching this early or rewatching this from the beginning after it's uploaded or after you join the stream. Again, that video did not get copyright claimed or striked for one specific reason. I put a copyright disclaimer in the beginning of the video. If you want to use copyrighted music, but don't want to get claimed or striked for it, please put a disclaimer in the video, the beginning of the video like I did, claiming that you do not own the footage, audio, or voices of the characters or game that you use the audio from into your videos, because that completely prevents you from getting copyright claimed or striked. I did it multiple times in the past with the Metal Gear Rising video and then the TF2 video now. Those videos didn't get striked because I put a disclaimer claiming I did not own those audio and said where it was from. So if you want to put copyrighted music, footage, or anything like that in a video, put a disclaimer in the video. But if you're gonna do something like put up a whole freaking movie on a YouTube video, that won't help at all, because using part of the footage for educational and entertainment purposes is okay as long as you put a disclaimer and you make sure it's well known that you do not own that footage. Then it's maybe okay. Or if you just got permission from the copyright owners and then you're okay, so that had nothing to do with the stream, but I'm just gonna start Creative 2.0. Not Creative 2.0, but that actually sounds like a good idea. I could probably stream myself playing a bunch of those Creative 2.0 maps, and there's some new ones too, so I could do that, but maybe after this one. Also, if you hear any sounds in the background, like crunching sounds, that's my cat eating out of the food bowl, because the food bowl is in my room, so it could probably be heard. And if you hear like a fan sound, then there's a fan too, so don't mind that. So, and also some points I may drink water, so just don't mind me. Also, I've been thinking about doing another type of content, which is personal vlogs. And if I ever do those personal vlogs, I'm not gonna go into depth like, oh, this is my first last name, and this is my address, and this is what my house looks like, and crap like that. No. If I do ever do vlogs, it's mostly gonna be on physical and mental health. Because I had a pretty crappy early life. Like, yeah, if I have a house, I'm blessed by God, I'm a dedicated Christian, or try to be good, and I'm just working myself up to the point I'm healthy now. I could just do story times explaining some of my personal life, but not too personal. You know what, you get what I'm saying. So let's get into this. So this is the remastered version of Team Fortress 2. Now don't mind these other things, like the tier list video that you know about, World of Redemption. This is like another map I'm working on, make a video on that later, and Stranded, which is like Stranded Deep, but my version. Change Your Outfit is just a baseline map that I usually put if I'm in a public match and I don't want anyone looking at my other projects that are actually important. So this is just a baseline for that. And Wrapped, I tried to make the Raft game, but it is having problems, so I just put that aside for now. But I actually want to go to the older Team Fortress 2 map that I made 2 years ago and see how I used to make maps back then. Like, I had terrible skill. Like, yes, I can make main menus and class designs and stuff like that. And I had the 6 hours put into making that 2 Fort map that you see in the trailer and the older Team Fortress 2 video. Well, actually, that 2 Fort map was actually a map I made not too long after the first old Team Fortress 2 map. But that was never uploaded in a video. It was only the baseline TF2. So this was the map. Now, due to like this being a older map, you can clearly tell there's the old spawn pads, and I don't have like properly put out main menus and stuff like that, and it was just completely scrambled around, and it wasn't even an actual 2 format. It was just this template, but the only thing I made different was making a bridge, and that's just complicated. I can get to that later. So let's actually go to the classes. Now, some new features that I updated about this map is the text dialogue pop-ups and the down but not out only for medic, and adding the sword for demo man when that eventually got added. But that was a while before I actually made the new map. And I have a habit of remaking older maps as a remastered quote-unquote version. And this is kind of it. Like, there was a lot of stuff I could have done different with this map back then, but this is what I went with since there was limitations to what I can actually do. And again, when it's Fortnite get out of flamethrower, I have to put up with that garbage shotgun. You all know it's the Dragon's Breath shotgun as a flamethrower replacement. So for Scout, I had the double shotgun as the force of nature, and the slap juice was supposed to be like atomic bonk soda. I may have butchered the name of it, and then the normal pistol. And then for soldier, as you would expect, you've got the quad rocket launcher because it's a 4-shot rocket launcher in both games, a normal shotgun because it's a shotgun, and impulse grenades to represent the mechanic for rocket jumping. And then, as you can probably see, the baseline for weapons that the Pyro would have in some form of the games. And it's just so on and so on. And for some reason, I decided to make it so that the shield keg is the dispenser instead of the actual campfire, which I did replace, because before this map of the version got updated, it was just a normal campfire. But then I replaced it with the shield keg because you can actually move it around a lot easier instead of having to place it on the tile and then the tile breaking. But then in the new map, I'll get into the new map later, but I'm going to the old map. It was bland and weird for the older map that I did. Now, as you can probably tell, this is probably an older map, since it's a singular button. There's no radius around the button where you can interact, and I usually now with my experience, I make the sign the button. I make the button invisible, drag the sign to a reachable standard, and put it here. But now I don't do it the same way I did before because it was just blind like this. Now I had checkpoint pads, I think, or something like that. And then each crate would have the loot of each class. So for Scout, it will tell you what your playstyle is supposed to be. But everyone plays the classes differently, so this means nothing to the actual game. Each character has their own playstyles, but it basically tells you what it would be. So once that's over with, you've got the supposed Um, Force of Nature, you got the stock pistol, and you got Bonk Atomic Punch. And then the stats are exactly the same as they are in TF2. Now I had a time limit in this map because I usually put time limits in the older maps, but never really do it in the new maps. Now, as you would expect, Scout is fast. Now I did put sprinting and sliding. I didn't put hurdling because that wasn't on the updated version of this.
No. Let's see. You need to
Alright, I'm back. So we're gonna continue with the stream and my own that I was making. So we're gonna switch to a different class, Soldier. He didn't really have much with this class in the older version I made, but it's as you would expect: a rocket launcher, shotgun, impulse grenades, and then with Pyro there was the fire-related weapons and thermal thruster or the jetpack, and then those down men, 2 grenade launchers, the sword, or as the Islander I renamed it, and C4 rows that were sticky bombs, and then as you would get Alright, so I'm gonna switch to someone random like Scout, and in this map there was 2 things for testing. A training range, which you shot targets at, and then you enter back in, and then there would be a AI practice, which is these sentry bots, which some represent in different classes, but it's kind of boring. So then once you're done, you can actually get to the real map, but I was too basic to actually make functioning buttons for each specific team. So I had 2 separate buttons. So now I just go to either one, there's a teleporter, and then once you actually enter the map, there will be a health pack there, the bridge, and you have to capture the control points. And the first one to capture the control point, and then wait for the timer to run out, that would be how each team won. But there was also Uber Charge and crits that anyone could just go and activate here. Uber would give you basically just infinite health, but I think it's bugged. And then crits would just give you more damage. Yeah, that would be the effect. But that's not the effect anymore because it gives you that stat permanently because it doesn't switch you back. So that was basically the old TF2 map I made. But then I have the new one. And the new Team Fortress 2 map basically fixed all the problems that the previous map had, since it was modernized and it's updated and it's a whole separate map and it's just better. Now this map, save file, used to be 2 Fort.
Justin was waiting.
Alright, so we can continue now.
My TV was being weird. It was like...
No, it wasn't on hold.
It was like glitching out.
I just have my phone next to me so I can remove any messages that I don't want in my chat.
I just turned it off.
And I also have like message filters
I got a new
so you can say certain words. So I was just looking at the chat through my phone. So now we can start again.
Who's playing what?
Alright, so as you can clearly see, there is a lot of changes. It's no longer just a box with walls in it, it's a galaxy crate.
Oh, maybe I'm not just done there.
we're back again. So we can continue now. So we can pick our class, and this uses the same tech question thing again, but this time you could just select the class type. My first intention was to put all 9 classes in one tab, but the maximum amount was 3 buttons you can put. So that was no question. So now I'm gonna select offense, and I can select either one: scout, soldier, pyro. And for each one, I want to select. There was. Well, let me just select scout first. So now we get to actually select our class, unlike the previous one. So the whole point here is the first problem with the previous map is that you couldn't
Hold up.
use.
Can you like wait just a little bit?
You couldn't actually create your own loadout, so you had to use what it was put in your face. Or what? No, you had to freaking no. What I meant to say was that you only were able to use the weapons that were given to you when you selected the class. But this time I fixed that. You could make your own class. It was really complicated to make though. So now
What? Bro. I like that one girl. Yeah. I was playing with like this one, like all one. And I was playing ranked bubble something, bubble tag. I feel like we should play bubble tag, that's easier than normal ranked. For sure. You know what bubble tag is? Ranked bubble tag. It's like you hit someone and it turns into a bubble, but if their teammate hits them again, they're out of the bubble and they can fight. And then, but if, yeah, it's easy. You just have to hit them one time. But you can't get hit by them or still be able
alright, we're back again. So now I'm actually select the class this time. Now each one, instead of it just giving you the weapon, you actually get to look at what the weapon is and how it compares to others. So the stock scattergun is the Maverick shotgun, or the Maven shotgun, whatever it's called. And it's known as the stock weapon. So that's how you know it's the most basic you can get, and there's little to no downsides. And instead of there being maximum assaults of 5 or 6, it's now 3. So you can pick up this weapon, and that's what you can use. And then there's the Force of Nature, the double barrel shotgun, deadly close up but less ammo. And then the Babyface Blaster, more ammo but less damage. That wasn't the stats for the Babyface Blaster in the actual TF2 map, but it's what I'm going for in my version. And then it's the stock pistol again, but it's the classic pistol, the cartoon one, instead of the M9 version that's more new. And then there's the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol, powerful but less damage, my version. And then there's remotes like Bonk Atomic Punch, can't take or deal damage, and then Criticola, temporary deal crits. And then Mad Juice, which is supposed to be the Mad Milk, but it heals you and your teammates, which is the purpose, but it's just a one-time use and it's different. And if you try to constantly heal yourself with this, if you're near enemies, it'll just kill you regardless anyways. So now I can pick this one, and notice that there's also melees. There's dedicated melees for each class. Even though this is supposed to be considered the stock bat, even though it's a sword, there's no way to redesign the melees that actually have the system involved. So just go with what it says it is. Now you can, now when you're in the main menu, the second main menu, you can select classes again, you can go to the map, or you can go to shooting range, which is the training session. You go here, and you're put in this box with a bunch of walls and a heal pack. So basically there's a more refurbished and run down version of the AI practice and training range. You can test your range with certain weapons, and you can also like fight these NPCs. This is supposed to represent scout, this one's soldier, this one heavy, this one pyro, this one's sniper, and this one's spy. And they kind of look the part too. And they also have similar health values, like this NPC, Scout, is supposed to have 120 HP, but there was no option for that, so I do 110. Soldiers still have the 200 health. Pyro has 150 instead of 270 because of different health values in the device. Heavy has 300, and so on and so on. Now, you can test your range with this. Each weapon and class does a good representation of how they actually are in game. Like how effective certain classes are is, I guess, well, a good thing that this replicates good done is matchups. Like how effective each class could be. Like Scout can go against other scouts and other characters like snipers and spies, but they're not good against heavies, pyros, or soldiers.
Can you get away from me so we don't get killed?
And sometimes Delman. But Delman NPC isn't here yet. So you basically just test out your loadout without actually fighting or doing anything important. And if you want, you can just use your melee, which has the same damage values. And every single melee has a random crit chance. Like that. And then you can just go grab a health pack, and then you can go back to the main menu, select a different class, test out that loadout, and then move on.
We need to get to 9 points. So we need more points to win.
That's how you do this. You select your class with the loadout, and you just do whatever. Like I kept the impulse grenades for the rocket jumping, the soldier shotgun, and also had the family distance, which faster firing but does less damage. Good representation of the weapon in both games. And even though the rocket launcher gives you 100 damage like the TF2, it's still effective at clearing out enemies and hordes. So this can still be effective, like it's still 2 shots. Scouts, not soldiers, it's still 2 shots scouts, engineers, snipers, and spies, but it has the 3-shot pyros, and also soldiers. And then heavies are 5 shots. Yeah, it's 4 shots. I'm talking to chat, but if you hear someone in the background, it's like brother, don't mind him. Alright, so now moving on to the next class, we got Pyro. Now Pyro is significantly more different. Like, he has less range options.
See what happens?
Except for the flare gun. The flare gun is an exception to that. But I'll get to the thermal thruster in a bit, but I honestly want to go to that later because there's like a creative glitch where if you equip the thermal thruster, it will give you that ability to jetpack across all maps that you're using.
Get me!
It's just a bug. I don't know what's going on.
Why are you running?
So I guess like either these, and then I can go to here. And then I can go to the shooting range again. And then I can just keep doing this over and over again. Now there's also a bug with the reload animations. So, and also some shooting animations. The most effective way to kill anyone in TF2 and in Fortnite is actually getting up close and personal with people, which is what the shotgun is only good for, getting up close to people and just shooting like that. The one thing that's different about Pyro is that he needs sustained damage with the flamethrower to be effective, but this one is a burst effect.
That's me, you stupid monk. I rejoined.
I already told you how the animations and shooting animations are bugged, and I just proved my point. So you can use this weapon, it's a one-shot, or you can switch to the more professional pump shotgun, which is really effective, and it's multi-class. So, and you can also use the flare gun, which I don't know if it does the same damage as it does in both games, but I think it's still effective. The only difference is that it scans enemies and radiuses around it, and it's an explosive one, which I think is still explosive in both games, but doesn't seem like I've noticed. I'm not sure if it's in both, but
See, that's what I always do.
now I made this map to be a 6v6 map, meaning you can have 6 classes of each type
They need one more.
fighting against the enemy team. I'm gonna move on to the classes though. So now we got. Frick, I selected the wrong class. I'm not gonna
There's no way we win.
Alright, defense.
There's no way we win.
And then we got the first defense class, Demo Man. Now we got the start with classical grenade launcher. We can either choose between sticky jumper or sticky bombs, which is C4 mist. But since I'm not going to be jumping around in the training range, it's going to be C4. And I also got the Islander again for the reappearance. My menu, shooting range, and the only difference between both grenade launchers in both games is that in Fortnite, it doesn't bounce off structures and then roll. It bounces off structures and instantly explodes. So this makes it overpowered. And you can shoot across businesses like that and around corners, which makes them really effective. But in terms of actually shooting from a distance, he's not too effective. This is a pretty small area, which is why it's still effective here. But then we got the C4. The throwing range has to have some skill or just sense to actually throw it down. And then you can detonate. The difference between the sticky bombs and the C4 is that this, you don't have to reload the remote explosives, but you will have to detonate each one separately. Like you can throw it on multiple and then detonate separately. Not all at the same time. You can still sticky spam, but it's less effective because it detonates separately for each grenade. And then we got Demo Man, the subclass of Demo Man. Now, since we got the Islander here,
I'm just trying to at you.
We can swing around as usual. But the difference here is that you can block. Because if you have the stock shield equipment for Demo Man to go with the sword, it reduces damage, which I think is in both games, but I'm pretty sure it's adjusted in both or just one of them. But that's something I thought that the stock shield did. So you can block the tank 60% of melee hits that you take.
Nice.
And you can also sprint or charge. It takes up stamina, so you're gonna be careful while using this because it runs out quickly. And that charge can be your only chance to actually get away from enemies. So you're gonna have to be careful who you fight against, which again clears up the whole matchup situation. And again, you kind of struggle to turn because of how quick it runs out, and it can only go between short distances. So then you can sprint, and then you can do a slash attack. It was able to do it before, but it couldn't do it now. And now I'm getting into practice again. There's still crits, and Demo Man is the most effective at close range. I think everyone knows that. And so now we can switch different classes now. Now let's go to the second defense class, Heavy. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this one, but there is separate minigun options, even though there's only 2 miniguns. There is the minigun, it's effective, but it is basic. the sideways minigun more damage but slower spin up time, which is technically accurate. It starts off slow. It has to take the same time as the normal minigun to rev up, but it starts off a slow fire rate to an acceleratingly high fire rate. And this one, the LMG, just needs no spin up time, but and also more damage, but it needs to reload and slower fire rates. So stock minigun.
That's how you learn.
Want to do the family business and the
Don't do something that's
sandwich.
better. Yes, it is.
I could use the fist stock, but
How are
it's
you
just
gonna
the same as other
learn beating the
minis.
person every single time?
So now we can get heavy. We see the 300 HP. As I said before, it's kind of bugged out with the weapons. It still does the same though. Needs sustained damage to be effective. And you can use a shotgun too. And if you need a heal, you simply get your sandwich and you slowly heal up.
Alright, I'm blocking the bar.
Alright, now you can go to the third class in the defense category, Engineer. Now, the Engineer has a separate shotgun that he can only access, the Frontier Justice. But the difference between both Frontier Justice and this and the separate game, TF2, is that in order to get your crits or increase damage, you don't have to get kills with your sentry and then get destroyed. You can only just charge it up. And they have two similarities, like having a little pipe or cylinder on the top of the weapons. And they also have, and the Engineer also has two personal exclusive pistols. The Short Circuit, which acts the same way. It shorts out a burst of a blue energy ball or something like that. But the difference is that they did not have a lock-on pistol of any kind, which I thought the Engineer, since he'd probably make a technical weapon like that. So the thing is that, so it saves space, there's no shield carries, we're back to the normal campfires.
Your bot is smacking me.
So now you can do the same way, you can get crits. It's more effective than using normal shotguns, which makes sense throwing out the Frontier Justice. But it has less ammo and it shoots slower, like the actual Frontier Justice. And now if I do the Short Circuit, it does very similar damage using the 30s. I think the Short Circuit did 35, and it can shoot faster, and it has lower radius. But it's still effective in both. I'm not sure if it's different projectiles, but it's still effective. It's kind of annoying to fight against, but it can find a way around it. And this is not enough of a 2017, so I'm not going to go into detail on what this could represent, unless there's some way that this can represent this a little more. Moving on now. Now we got classes. Again, I don't know what I said that. And then the support classes, we got Medic, get the Bench Bazooka as a minigun. I didn't bother changing the name because I got lazy a bit, or just forgot. And then you obviously got your crossbow. But then there's also the bone saw. If you want to try meleeing people, you could take the bone saw instead of the ranged crossbow. But I prefer the crossbow because you're gonna shoot point blank range and it's still effective in accuracy. So you can take Medic, and then you can do this. And how am I going to do Uber or Chris Creed, you may say? It's very interesting on how I want to plan this out. So, there is no actual way to target a certain effect with a character through the remote device. Unless it's towards a specific class, which wouldn't be unfair. Like, you can only Uber or Chris Creed a heavy, that wouldn't be fair. If you had to pick a separate remote for a specific class, no. How I'm gonna do Uber and Chris Creed is that it'll be a separate remote, two remotes, that'll take up another slot.
Boom! Give me go.
But depending on which one you pick, it'll give the whole team the same effects. It will give all of the teammates on your team.
Let's play, dude. Okay, come on, 3 seconds are black. 5, 2, 3, 4, 2.
Whatever
Okay,
team you're on, if you
please.
use that effect, and then on the team you're selected as, then that same team will get the same effect. So if you selected Uber and did Uber, you can Uber your whole team. But since it's really overpowered to have everyone have that same effect, I'll make it so it's very short time and a high cooldown. So it's very limited, which is more of a nerf. And same with Chris Creek, everyone does triple damage. That's kind of overpowered, so it'll have a longer cooldown than Uber. That also kind of goes into that, but it's overpowered. But it's limited. So if you see a guy got crit screen or Ubered, just run away and then you're good. Because it takes only 5 seconds for each one to run out. But I haven't implemented those mechanics yet, but I will soon. And obviously Medic can kill himself, and he can also heal his teammates infinitely. So that's Medic. And then we got the last two classes, Sniper and Spy. Sniper will have the sniper rifle and the huntsman bow. You can pick both since there's enough room, but then you won't be able to select the SMG and the Girardi, which does nothing, so I should add more weapons to make this more difficult of a choice to select each one. So I'll probably add different SMGs for Sniper, since he's the only one in the game that actually uses SMGs. So I'll select both the Sniper Rifle, Huntsman, and SMG. I could also use the Kukuri or the Machete, but I'm not using that. It's the same as the other melees. And then you can snipe people. For low classes, it'll be instant one-shot, but for characters that are like heavy, it will not one-shot them, but the difference is that you don't have to charge up a shot to kill, to do insane damage, but you will still have to hit your shots.
That's how you get better.
And that's difficult if you're not skilled enough, or if they're moving insanely fast.
You gotta figure out how to beat me.
Even if you headshot a heavy, it won't one-shot like in an actual game if you fully charge up a shot, but it will still even only have 50 HP, and you can easily just use your sniper, your bow, or even your SMG to finish them off. So it's still effective.
You gotta beat me one time.
And just to get out of the way, I'm gonna snipe the spy, and I'm gonna go back.
No, it doesn't.
Now, the last and final class, Spy. Now, Spy is a little bit different because he's supposed to be the stealthy type. He's supposed to be running around, sneak up on people, and stealth killing people, which can be effective. Now, like the Girardi and the Sniper class in this one, it does nothing, but it's mainly for show.
Fine.
But there's a lot of revolver options,
Just give me
so
one
I'll
time.
probably add other mechanics for getting around the map.
Keep trying.
Like maybe smoke grenades and something like that.
Practice makes perfect, little boy.
So this one I don't really want to do because you all know how this one probably operates.
Like playing against someone that's way worse than you.
I'll go in here. You can. Now this is supposed to be the stock revolver. It does around 40 damage, but this one is 44, so similar, and it looks the part. It's a black, mostly black revolver. The only difference is that it has a thermal scope, and the headshot does 88 damage. So if you can still headshot effectively, why bother using the Ambassador? Well, it's because the Ambassador, or the Marksman 6-shooter, has increased headshot damage. It does only 6. Now little damage can be effective in certain situations, and you can still get around. Now you will be completely invisible, but if you have, or if you're playing as a character, or if you're Ubered or something like that, the particle effect will still show, leaving you vulnerable to get caught. But you will mostly be invisible if you're from a distance and using this. So that's all the characters. So now, that's the stream. I'll do more of this. Now, I never showed you guys the map, so I'll do that now. It takes a 30-second time to start up, and that goes for both teams. They'll stay locked until the timer's up.
There's no way.
And I'll look around the map for a bit. It's supposed to be a replica of 2 Fort. That's about it though. Still just waiting a bit, and we're good now. 3, 2, 1. Alright. Now, as a kind of like testing, like I was supposedly gonna do the trailer, the gameplay trailer, which I put in the description of the first trailer, the cinema trailer for recreating the TF2 trailer. I put in the description when it first came out that I'll make a gameplay trailer, but I scrapped that, and that's why these guys are here. I was intending to make a gameplay trailer, but I thought it'd be too much time consuming, and I wanted to do the stream, so that's it here. So instead of just sitting around and doing nothing, they'll actually move around and they'll move around. So that is basically Fortnite. If you want more TF2 content, like you want me to recreate Man vs. Machine, Saxon Hell game mode, let me know. Those would be cool to recreate. The Man vs. Machine game mode and the Saxon Hell game mode were actual modes I made, like the roleplay map, which was this map, like 2-4, and the basic TF2 map. But I haven't remastered those maps yet, so that could just be from there. I'll probably recreate those maps soon, so end the stream.
See, you got
That's it.